Hello everyone, welcome back to SwitchUp. Now, if you'd like to win a copy of this one, you can do so. You just need to let me know down in the comments your favourite visual novel. If you've not played one, well, yeah, just let me know what you like about the game. But a big thanks to P-Cube who have sponsored this deep dive into Iwakura Aria, which comes out today on Nintendo Switch. If you're not someone who plays this genre, then I'll also do my very best to explain exactly how it works to you. As, yeah, that was basically me, but in the last month or so I seem to have played a bunch of them. But is this one likely to gain a cult following, or should it clean up his act? Well, my name's Mark Walker, welcome back to SwitchUp, now let's find out. The game originally released back in Japan on June the 27th of last year. The Western release is not just for Nintendo Switch, it's for Steam, and of course it will have a physical edition available as well. Don't worry, I'm not going to spoil the story, I'll try my very best to stay away from anything plot related. I'll just give you the broad strokes of how it begins. The storyline is set in 1960s Japan, and it centers around Ichiko Kitagawa, who begins the experience working in an orphanage selling items. There is some mention of previous employment in the construction industry, which was a little unusual, but after a rich visitor notices her artistic skills, he invites her to become their household maid. The family she is employed by are known as the Iwakura family, who seem to be renowned in the populace, but you're not entirely sure exactly why. Is there some historical significance, or is there perhaps something darker that you need to discover? However you feel about visual novels, one thing that is very apparent is just how stunning the artwork is. These hand-painted environments by Fumi Nakada have so much detail in them. In a post-AI world, you really can appreciate it when someone's done something like this by hand. In fact, art and artistic direction take a huge part not only in the visual presentation, but also within the story, as your main character is herself an artist, often producing lovely sketches of things that you're looking at within the environment, and they can also hide little details that you may or may not pick up on as the story unfolds and the true nature of this place becomes apparent. The main relationship that Ichiko builds is between herself and the daughter Aria, which is where the game's title comes from. She is a slightly melancholic heiress who has something very strange about her that you just can't put your finger on. Ichiko is absolutely enamored with her, but there's a fear there. They actually do a surprisingly good job of building up that relationship. Now, it is a little slow, as is the nature of the genre sometimes, but it is entirely voice acted in Japanese, and those voice actors do a good job, even if you don't understand the language, of adding some nuance to certain situations. As you settle into your role as the housemaid, you're given free rein sometimes to go around the different rooms in the mansion, while still carrying out your jobs. Some rooms may be shown in red, and those are ones that you'll have to visit to carry out a task. And once you're finished, then you back out and the story will carry on. As far as other gameplay elements are concerned, this is a visual novel that features choices. Those choices can, as I discovered, have a very profound effect. While you don't get huge numbers of choices, the ones you do make actually will have an effect on one of the game's 9 endings. And those endings can be surprising, shall we say. I was also pleased to see that they didn't end very quickly. So sometimes the endings would take several scenes, there'd be huge time hops, and you certainly got a conclusion, whether satisfying or not, but there are some interesting things in play here so that you can go back to experience other endings. So once I finished initially, I obviously got the very bad ending, and within your quick save and quick load, which is handled with the right analog stick, I think it's press up to quick load and it will take you into a menu, or you can press down and it will quick save, or vice versa. But you can quickly jump back to any of the saves that you've made. You can also make saves manually and then lock them so that you don't accidentally overwrite them. So if you know you're at a final choice, which does become very evident, and it usually auto saves as well just at those moments, you can go back and see exactly what would have happened. In that regard, it's a bit like a Telltale's title, but they've made it as easy as possible to do that. As Ichiko goes about her daily business, cleaning up the house, she'll often find various items. Paying close attention to these allows you to really piece together some story components in advance. But having said that, my conclusion was completely wrong about 6 times during the game. While it's not presented presenting you with red herrings, it's presenting you with cliches, and then it's crushing them, which I was really pleased to see. There is a real thematic mix here. On the one hand, you've got a mystery, but it's veiled beneath a relationship. And as I say, developer mages have done quite a good job at hiding their intention, but also showing you things that if you're paying attention, you will have noticed by the time the conclusions come. As far as controls, well, much of the game is you watching what's happening on screen. You can speed up the text. In fact, you can have it fly through if you're repeating an area to get to a different ending. When it's time to select a choice, that's just up or down, and then selecting rooms as well is very simplistic. You won't find yourself scouring through environments for hidden clues. I was chatting to Glen about the scale of visual novels, and on the one side you've got those that are 99% reading, and then on the other you've got ones that are much more interactive, perhaps like AI Somnium files, and I think this is closer to the first of those two. One interesting element that you may be wondering about is the game length. Now, some visual novels can be absolutely huge, upwards of 80 hours, and in my opinion that would be a nightmare. It would just be far too much. I concluded Aria in around about 13 hours, and that's having experienced a few endings. For my tastes, that's about right. It doesn't outstay its welcome, but I will say the second half I found much more interesting than the first. Part of that is because obviously they need to slowly build up the characters, the world, they need to set your expectations and then gradually destroy them, but it's also because I just found the second half to be significantly more challenging as a reader and a player. And when I say challenging, I mean emotionally and mentally so, with choices that were genuinely quite difficult. Price-wise, you're looking at about £34.99 in the UK, and the other regional prices are on your screen. There is a physical. P-Cube very often like to bring out physicals, and there's no exception here. And if you're going for a full completionist run with all of the different endings, you could probably push your playtime closer to the 20-hour mark. Overall, I've had a great time playing it. I wasn't sure to begin with exactly where things were going, but after a few nights finding myself up till 1 or 2 in the morning just playing it, it clearly does get its hooks in and offers an interesting experience. Whether you're playing the game on Nintendo Switch 1 or 2, it looks the same. It has those lovely hand-drawn visuals. Obviously, performance is not an issue here. Things load fast enough. I've also mentioned that the voice actors do a good job. Perhaps the soundtrack itself I didn't find quite as good as the artwork, mainly because there are a couple of shorter loops, which in a game where you'll spend a lot of time in the same areas, you do begin to notice. Overall, if you're a visual novel fan or not, let me know down in the comments. Let me know what you think of this one. Would you like to win a copy? A big thank you to P-Cube, who have obviously sponsored this video, which is why it doesn't have any kind of scores or anything like that. It's more of a game overview, so you can decide if it's something you're interested in. A thank you to all of you that enjoy our content, to our Patreons and members. And members, I've updated the end credits, so the name should now appear correctly on there. And it's also sorted by who's been a member by the longest, because you get different emojis on there, don't you? So that just happens on its own. Freckly John, you absolute legend. For all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers, guys. See ya!